It began with the smallest things I barely noticed at first. A shrug when I reached out. A turned shoulder in bed. A soft, almost dismissive, "Not tonight." I told myself she was just tired. We both were long hours, constant deadlines, barely any time to breathe. It made sense. Or at least that's what I convinced myself to believe. But the distance didn't fade. Weeks passed and every gesture I made. A hug from behind, a kiss on her cheek, even the simple act of resting my hand on her back, was met with that same cold stillness. One night, when I leaned in to kiss her, she actually pulled away and whispered, "No touching today." Those words didn't sound harsh. They weren't even angry. But they echoed in my mind all night like a bell tolling for something that had already died. No touching today. Not because she was mad or hurt. Just because she didn't care anymore. I lay beside her that night, staring up at the ceiling while she scrolled through her phone, her face glowing from the screen's light, laughing quietly at something I wasn't part of. That laugh used to be mine, the sound that filled our home. Now it belonged to someone else, or maybe just to her own world, one that no longer included me. I started noticing everything after that. The late replies. The spontaneous girls' nights. The half-hidden smiles when her phone buzzed. I wasn't stupid. I knew what all of it probably meant. But instead of confronting her, instead of exploding, I went quiet. It was in that silence that I finally understood something. Love isn't proven by how hard you fight to stay. Sometimes it's proven by knowing when it's time to leave. That night, when she turned her back to me, I whispered softly, "You'll miss this silence one day." She didn't even react. The next morning, she moved around the kitchen humming, carefree, acting like nothing had happened. She tossed me a casual morning over her shoulder, completely unaware I hadn't slept a second. I watched her, and for the first time she didn't look like my wife. She looked like a stranger who happened to share my last name. When I finally asked her, "Do you even care anymore?" she just gave this amused little smile and said, "You're being dramatic, Mark. I just need space." Space. That word people hide behind when they've already left emotionally, but haven't packed their bags yet. I nodded. "Okay," I said. "Then I'll give you space." And I meant it. That day I started detaching. I stopped texting her during the day. Stopped asking when she'd be home. When she came in late, I just greeted her politely and went back to whatever I was doing. I didn't sulk, didn't accuse, didn't even care to know anymore. And that scared her. By the third day, she finally noticed. "You're quiet lately," she said, her voice hesitant. "Something wrong?" I smiled faintly. "No," I replied. "Just respecting your space." That answer hit her harder than I expected. For once, she didn't know what to say. I think that was the moment she realized I wasn't pretending anymore, that I was done trying. By the end of the week, I was little more than a shadow in my own home. I spoke only when necessary, stayed on my side of the bed, stopped initiating anything. She began to panic in small ways. Suddenly she'd ask what I wanted for dinner, compliment my clothes, or casually brush her hand against mine as she passed. But I gave her exactly what she'd been giving me, nothing. That's when she began to unravel. The same woman who once said, "No touching," now lingered near me, searching for the attention she'd taken for granted. But by then, I'd already made the quiet choice in my heart, the one between love and self-respect. That weekend, she came out of the bedroom wearing a dress I hadn't seen in years, one she used to wear on our early dates. "Hey," she said softly. "Want to go out tonight? Just the two of us." I looked up from my laptop and studied her face. She looked nervous, like she was trying to bring back something that was already gone. "I've got plans," I said simply. "Plans?" she repeated, her tone tightening. "With who?" I shrugged. "A friend." That one word hit her like a slap. For a moment, she just stood there in silence before muttering, "Right? Enjoy your space." The next morning, I packed a small suitcase. Not everything, just enough to make a point. When she saw it by the door, her expression crumbled. "Mark, what are you doing?" "Giving you what you asked for," I said calmly. "Space. Freedom. No touching. No expectations." She stepped forward, eyes wide. "Don't be ridiculous." "I didn't mean." I cut her off. "You meant every word. You made me a stranger in my own home. I'm just making it official." I handed her a small envelope. Inside was a note that said, No more us. She didn't say a word as I walked out. The sound of the door closing behind me was the most peaceful thing I'd heard in months. For 2 days I disappeared. No calls, no messages. I went for long drives, caught up with old friends, rediscovered what quiet actually felt like. For the first time in a long time I felt light. Then, on the 3rd day, my phone started lighting up. Her name. 15 missed calls. Then 20. Then 30. Finally a message. Please come home. I can't do this without you. The irony wasn't lost on me. The woman who once couldn't stand my touch now couldn't stand my absence. I didn't respond immediately. I let her sit in that silence. The same silence she'd once given me so carelessly. When we finally met, she broke the moment she saw me. Tears, shaking hands, desperate words. "Mark, I was stupid," she said between sobs. "I thought I needed space, but I just didn't want to feel boring. I never cheated. I swear. I just liked the attention." I looked at her for a long moment and realized she was probably telling the truth. But it didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. "You didn't have to cheat to lose me," I told her quietly. "You just had to stop caring." She begged me for another chance, but I'd already made peace with letting go. Because sometimes love doesn't end with betrayal. It ends in quiet neglect. It fades not with a bang, but with the slow erosion of warmth. It's been a year since that night. My life is calmer now. Stronger. I've built something solid again on my own. Every once in a while she still messages me. "I miss you. I was wrong." But I never reply. Because now I understand what I didn't before. Love without affection isn't love at all. It's coexistence. And I'd rather be alone than be someone's second thought. She once said, "No touching today." I answered, "No more us." And that was the day she finally cared, just a little too late.